Ya, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So, today we are going to move forward to our next material for English paragraph writing course. Today, we are going to discuss about introduction to opinion paragraph. But we but before we start our lesson today of the introduction to opinion paragraph, let's open this discussion by reciting basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, let's get started. Okay, guys, so for today's learning objectives, you got two learning objectives. The first one, students are able to conceptualize the concept, purpose, generic structure, and language feature of opinion paragraph accurately and properly through discovery learning. So you are going to be introduced to the concept, purpose, generic structure, and the language feature of opinion paragraph. And you have to be able to conceptualize this aspect accurately and properly through discovery learning in order to further use those or these aspects for paragraph analysis later. Okay, so on the learning objective number two or second learning objective, you are going to analyze opinion paragraph topics related to its concept, purpose, generic structure, and language feature accurately and properly through paragraph analysis activity. Specifically for second learning objective, you are going to decide in which analyze, whether a certain topic, belongs to a fact or opinion. Yeah, so you have to be able to decide and analyze several topics that related to opinion paragraph. Okay, next we are going to further discuss about the opinion paragraph. Okay, as a starting point, you have to always remember that a paragraph is constituted from or by this aspect or this part. The first one is the topic sentence, supporting sentences, and the last one is concluding sentence. You have to remember that in general, the paragraph has three parts of it. Yeah, the first one topic sentence, supporting sentences, and the concluding sentences. Yeah, at the several previous meetings, we already discussed about the descriptive paragraph, and on this meeting, we are going to specifically discuss the opinion paragraph. Yeah, specifically, opinion paragraph has its own structure, generic structure in specific. So you have to remember that in terms of its aspect is alike. It's kind of and it's quite similar to the general parts of a paragraph. But in an argumentative or opinion paragraph, they have or it has a specific parts of the generic structure. Okay, so let's move on. So guys, this is a generic structure of an opinion paragraph. So there are three parts of the generic structure of an opinion paragraph. The first one is the thesis. Thesis is similar to topic sentence in which introduce the topic and indicating the writer point of view. It's similar to a topic sentence in which a starting point that introduce the reader, the audience to the specific topic and the main idea of the paragraph. Yeah. And then let's move on to the next part, argument. Argument in general is related to a supporting sentence in which it further explain, it further argues the topics or the main idea written previously on the thesis. So, on this argument part, the writer explain the argument to support the writer position. The number of argument may vary, but each argument must be supported by evidence and explanation. On this part of the sentence, in argument specifically, you have to be able to write and explain and also to argue your argument to support the writer position. I mean, for example, there is or your thesis sentence to a topic is agree to something. I mean, agree to specific statement. For example, and let's say you are agree that smoking in the public area should be banned. It means that in the argument section or on the argument parts, you are going to explain your opinion in order to support your thesis in which you are agree to ban smoking in the public area. So that's why on this argument section or part, you are going to write number of arguments, yeah, and each of argument must be supported by evidence and explanation why you are agreeing to that kind of statement and what is the evidence, what is the fact that smoking in the public area is dangerous, let's say, and why it should be banned. Yeah, so you have to further discuss it in order to be related and support your thesis statement. Okay, the next one, lastly, is reiteration. Reiteration is similar to concluding sentences in a general paragraph parts of or section, I mean. So, on this part or on this section, the writer have be or have to be able to restate the writer point of view to strengthen the thesis. We can use the following phrases to make conclusion in reiteration. Okay, so in reiteration or concluding sentence, yeah, you have to be able to restate the writer point of view to strengthen the thesis. I mean, after you argue, after you explain and what is it, discuss your argument toward the thesis that you have written previously, and then on the reiteration section or on the reiteration part, yeah, the last part, you are going to strengthen, yeah, your point of view in order to be able to make sure that your opinion matters. It means that you have to be able to make sure to prove that your argument, your thesis are strong. In order to be able to prove to the reader that your thesis, that your arguments are matter regarding to the topic itself. So that's why in the reiteration section or part, you must need, I mean, to restate your thesis. That's why in the reiteration, you can use a phrase to make a conclusion. Yeah, since this slide is actually missing in some part, you can explore by yourself the following phrase to make a conclusion in reiteration. Okay, that's it for the generic structure. Let's move on to the another slide. Okay, so there is a concept, yeah, of an opinion paragraph. There is a statement, I mean, there is a saying, a white lie. Have you ever heard this kind of topic or this kind of issue? A white lie. Yeah, so there are following example what is white lie. I mean, these are following example to know better about what is definitely or what is actually a white lie itself. Okay, a mistake about color. Example, Tom's new car is red when it's actually purple. A small or unimportant lie you tell not to hurt someone's feeling. Example, I think your new car looks cool when you actually think the new car looks ugly. C. A type of lie politicians tell to be popular. For example, when I'm a president, everyone will be able to buy a new car. when the politician knows people will not have more money. Tell your partner about the last time you told a white lie to a friend, a family member, or a teacher. Tell your partner if you think it is okay to tell white lies. Okay, guys, so this actually will help you to know better the difference between a white lie, yeah, in order to be able to differentiate between fact and opinion. Basically, a white lie is an action of making someone happy without telling the truth. I mean, if you feel like someone is wearing an ugly type of clothes, for example, and then you have to make them happy. In order to make them happy, in order to make a person happy, that's why you tell the lie. I mean, you probably in your specific point of view you think that the clothes is ugly, but you won't make them hurt, or you cannot, or you wouldn't be able to make them unhappy. So that's why you tell the opposite way. I mean, I think your clothes is beautiful. Yeah, instead you tell the truth. I mean, there is a statement, there is a popular what is it, praise, toxic positivity is similar to a white lie. So you have to be able to make someone happy by telling the opposite. Yeah, by telling the opposite from the reality in your opinion. Yeah, so that's why this kind of praise, this kind of issue is related to the opinion paragraph that will make you able to decide whether a fact, an opinion that you should tell to your readers or your audience. Yeah. So you have to remember this kind of thing is actually what is it? Generally happening in such opinion paragraph. So that's why on this kind of discussion, or in this kind of discussion, what lie is important to be described, to be emphasized in order to make you know better about your opinion. So that's why most of people use this kind of what lie in order to attract people, in order to make them happy, and most importantly, to make a persuasive way to the reader in order to make to do so, in order to make the reader agree with your opinion. So that's why this kind of white lie usually happening in kind, or on the kind, in the kind, I mean, an opinion paragraph. Okay, so let's dig deeper about the white lie on the next slide. Okay, there's another example of white lie. Now read this paragraph to find out if the writer agrees with you about telling white lie. White lies. 1. White lies are not always bad. If you tell your girlfriend that her new haircut looks great when it is horrible, she will know you are lying. I think it is better to tell the truth, yeah, in this case. However, if your girlfriend has a new dress and she really likes it, you should always say it's lovely. If you say you don't like it, you will make her unhappy and angry with you. You call lie if the truth will hurt and it is not important. So, in order to do this kind of activity, I mean, in order to implement this kind of issue in which white lies, you have to first wait for someone argue about themselves first before you do a white lie. For example, if your sister, for example, think that his or her, I mean, her new haircut is really amazing and fascinating in her opinion, but you think the opposite way of her. I mean, you think your sister's new haircut is kind of blunt. I mean, it's kind of bad, quiet bad, because it didn't suit with her facial features, for example. But you have to make your sister happy because her sister or your sister is definitely loving the new haircut so much. So that's why you have to do a white lie on this kind of context or in this kind of issue. So that's why in making or in implementing, in doing these white lies, so you have to wait for a person argue or deliver an opinion first before you did yours. So that's why you have to remember this kind of white lies is actually depends on the context. You cannot usually do white lies in every context of your daily life, including writing. So you have to make sure that white lies is actually integrating is actually reflecting to what it is. So that's why white lies is depending on the context. Doing a white lies, I mean, depending on its context. So you have to remember, so you have to make sure first that someone is arguing about themselves before you did a white lie. Okay? Hopefully you get the concept and you have to be able to conceptualize a white lie in your writing. Okay? That's it. Okay, enough talking about the concept of white lies. We are going to specifically discuss the language features that's actually happening in kind, on kind, or at kind of an opinion paragraph. Giving an opinion. Your opinion is your personal feeling. You have to remember that. A fact is something that is true. Most writing uses both facts and opinion. When you talk about your opinion, you can start your sentence with phrases such as I think, I don't think, I believe, in my view, in my opinion, according to me, in my opinion, I think, I believe. Yeah, so you have to emphasize the phrases that regarding that relates to your own opinion. I think, I don't think, I believe, I argue, I believe, in my opinion, in my view, for example, according to me, based on my experience, let's say, I believe, I disbelieve, I cannot believe, for example, blah blah blah, and so on. When you write, you can use one of the sentence starters above. However, be careful not to use, I mean, too many, or to use them too often. That can make your writing sounds, what is it, I think the word is actually cropped automatically and hidden automatically by my profile picture, so I cannot see it clearly. That can make your writing sound blah blah blah. Weak, I guess it's weak, yeah. The reader knows that the paragraph is your opinion because you wrote it. Yeah, instead, you overly or frequently using this kind of phrases such as I think, I don't think, and so on is actually good, but it will make your opinion sounds weak because you are frequently using it. The reader already know that you are delivering, you are arguing, I mean, your opinion. So that's why you don't need to use it overly. I think you need to use it in some kind of sentences or on some parts of sentences. For example, there is a five sentences that related to an opinion paragraph that written by you, for example. And then from the five sentences, I think it's okay. I think it's better if you use this kind of phrases on the argument section. Yeah, in which it argue, further discuss about your opinion toward the thesis, the topics, or the main idea that is being discussed or being argued. So that's why making or giving an opinion is matter, is actually important. But you have to remember that while writing an opinion paragraph, you are not, or you is not, or you cannot do or write this kind, or write these phrases overly, because it will make your writing sounds weak. It will make your writing sounds boring. Yeah, at the end of the sentences, it will make the readers think that I know this paragraph is actually an opinion paragraph. So I think it's better if the writer not overly use this kind of phrases. I think it's better if her or he argue it without emphasizing the praises or these praises too much. Yeah, it always happen on my writing as well, because I think in arguing or on arguing towards something is needed to be emphasized further, but actually it can be done by arguing something, by what is it, by inserting, by discussing an evidence, a fact that support your opinion or argument, instead of using these phrases overly. Okay, I hope you get the point of this slide. Okay, guys, you have to look at the sentences below. Write F for the facts and O for the opinions. This is actually a pretest, yeah, a pretest, I mean, for you before you do the less practice bring it on section. So, on the second learning objective that we have previously discussed, yeah. On this meeting, you are going to analyze a specific sentence, a specific statement in which whether they are belong to F for fact or O for the opinion. So you have to decide, so you have to analyze whether these sentences, these statements belong to F or O for the opinion. Learning English is easier for girls than for boys. I think it's opinion. Yeah, it's definitely an opinion, because learning English is easier for girls than for boys. You have to remember that an opinion is actually a personal feeling of the writer. So, since on this statement learning English is easier for girls than for boys, there's no such an evidence. There's so there's no such an evidence or proof that indicate a number, a year, a specific dates, a specific data, or specific number of certain proof or evidence. It means that this sentence belongs to opinion. Okay. So, next one, there are more boys than girls in my English class. I think the amount of the number, yeah, is actually belong to a fact. Why does it so? Why did it so? Because the fact usually indicate a number, an amount of something, because it relates to an evidence or a data on certain or particular thing or something. So that's why there are more boys than girls in my English class, I mean, is something that reflect the reality, the existing fact of an certain or a certain English class, I mean. So these are more boys than girls in my English class is actually a fact instead of opinion. Okay, so you got the rest: B, C, D, E, and F. You have to try to analyze whether the statement, whether the sentence belongs to F for fact or O for the opinion. Okay, best of luck. Okay, guys. So for this, let's practice bringing on meeting 9. You are going to do the same way. I mean, as the pretest on the previous slide. Yeah, you have to analyze whether a statement, I mean, or whether a sentence belongs to fact or opinion. So you have to do it by yourself, since you are a hybrid class student. I think it's quite hard, yeah, for you to work with your friend, your hybrid mates, since most of you are busy with your own work. So I think this exercise is better if you do it by yourself. So ignore your partner and focus on yourself. Okay, best of luck. Okay, guys, I think I made a mistake, yeah, while telling you the instruction for today's exercise. So, first, you have to ignore the partner since you are going to do it by yourself, and then you have to you have to do more on this exercise since you have to be able to write both fact and opinion for a certain topic. For example, as you can see on the example, the topic for A is tea. And then you have to write the fact statement or fact sentence and also the opinion sentence or opinion statement for this topic. As you can see, for is an example of fact, green tea is good for your health. Is it? Yeah. I think in order to make the fact or the fact statement or sentence more I think more valid, yeah, more credible, I think you need to write down to indicate a certain number, percent, for example, percentage, I mean, and then you have to write a specific date, a specific duration, a specific, or is it a specific proof and evidence that exists on the reality. So that's why in writing or while writing a fact, it needs to be supported, I mean, by a certain evidence and data. So I think you can do more or do it better than the example. Okay, for the opinion, black tea tastes better than the green tea. Okay, I think it's acceptable because for some people, black tea might, why is it, taste better than green tea, but on the other hand, the green tea for some people is tastes better than black tea, so it's belong to an opinion statement or paragraph. Okay, guys, best of luck. Okay, that's it for today's material related to introduction to an argumentative or an opinion paragraph. Okay, that's all. Thank you so much, guys. Let's close this meeting by reciting Hamdalah. Alhamdulillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.